For this week's weekly discussion, we have a spicy one on our hands. So, okay, before I get into all of the stuff that I want to say, I want to hear from Jerms because I've been holding out, waiting for Jerms to finally catch up with a certain series. It premiered last season. You know, everyone knows it. You know it. And yeah, so this is a first-time reaction on my behalf to see what Jerms thought. But The Promised Neverland, second season. What did you think, Jerms? I'm extremely curious. You are finally caught up. You've seen all the episodes. It's in the books. It's done. They're not making a third season. What did you think of the second season of The Promised Neverland? Please take it away.
It's been a real spicy season, this one. So many different jumps and speed ups, and you can feel it. Like, usually I don't feel like there's like a big cut or anything, but like even the trash taste man here, there was a lot wrong with this season, unfortunately, and it really feels unfortunate. Like you can see the potential. We could feel the potential and see what was going on, but they just like they didn't give the Tokyo Ghoul retreatment, or they did and did not the same way. Where some arcs were just like slideshows, like, oh, we did this and then that and then like this and like that and then here, now we're done. It's like,
let me remind you, I'm not saying this adaptation is as bad as Tokyo Ghouls, but they did give us a slideshow. We cannot let them off on that, because right at the end they give us a slideshow, and I remember looking at the screen thinking to myself, what the fuck am I watching? What is this dragon on the screen with like the weird eye or something like that? Like, did it have like multiple heads or something like that? It's like, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
I had to look that shit up, dude. There's no other point in the series where that's even like, is that a demon? What the hell is that? It's an entire arc.
Yeah, like
it's an entire arc that was shown to us in one still screen.
I feel yeah. And each of those feel like whole arcs in itself. So like I don't like I feel like they should have ended the episode a few minutes early to like maybe tease a third season with all this extra content they gave. For like,
no,
because like so say if you cut out like the last like 5 minutes or whatever, whenever they get to the human world, they're like, actually we're not gonna go back to the human. If they would have stopped it, like if that would have been the cliffhanger of the season, it would have still been a pretty bad season. But at least we'd still be able to see, maybe they'll adapt another season with all these other arcs that they skipped right at the end. Two problems with that. Number one, clearly Cloverworks does not want to continue the series. Clearly. Yeah.
They had it contracted. They said, we're working with a bunch of new stuff here, right? Let's just get this one in the books. That's clearly what happened. They had absolute no intention of doing a third season. Why fuck up this bad on a second season if you're going to try and scramble a third together? So definitely their intention wasn't there. And second of all, who the hell would watch a third season after this season? Listen, just to be clear for the viewers, I love the first season of The Promised Neverland. 2019 was a stacked year of anime, and I've said over and over and over again that The Promised Neverland's first season was my 2019 anime of the year. It is the one that hit me the hardest, the one that I was engrossed in. Like, I love that shit. I recommended it to you. I was like, bro, you got to see this shit. And
I loved it as well.
You saw it on a plane, and it was like spooky, right?
Oh, it was too spooky to watch on a plane. I had to stop it. I only watched a few episodes on the plane. And I was like, oh, this is too spooky for me. I gotta watch this when I'm with lights on and everything.
Yeah, and just to be clear, from what I saw, I love the first season. So good. And now I have to read the manga. Because, yeah. Well, any more thoughts on your part? I mean, you know what I'm going to say. Because I'm not coming from this from a place of, I thought the first season was okay, and then I think this one's bad. No, I love the first season. Like, I wanted this season to be good. I was coming up mentally with excuses. I'm like, all right, well, they're skipping some stuff, like it's rushed, but they're gonna land the ending. Like the thing, what's amazing about this season? The shitstorm. It keeps collecting shit as it's falling down the hill, right? And it's getting worse. The shit pile is getting bigger. It's getting bigger. It's picking up all types of doo-doo, right? But you're thinking to yourself, it's possible they can stick the landing. We got 5 episodes. We got 4 episodes. We got 3. You're like, they can do it. This turd of shit can land perfectly. Like they can find it, you know? Like, but no. It actually goes off a cliff the last 2 episodes. You thought it was bad? Oh, no. It gets worse. Right. I want to say, let me pull up the episode count. I want to say the last 2 or 3, they're just like, nah. You thought this was bad. You haven't seen nothing yet. And they just go off the rails with it. When Ray was doing his plan and he saw that demon, the Emma, and he's like, Emma, right? And like the real Emma uses talk no jutsu and convinces him not to be evil anymore. I'm like, oh shit, this is Batman v Superman in a fucking anime. Remember the Martha scene? They did the Martha scene in Promised Neverland. How could they do this? And then the next 2 episodes were even worse. Norman just escapes. He's just like, yeah, like I'm gonna blow shit up now. Boom, like boom.
No, like I was so confused. I was like, how did he get the setup for all this like explosives and
Germs.
all? Like I know he's a genius and all, but
Germs, you look. Stop looking. There is no setup. He looks at the only setup they had is he looks at the camera and shit just explodes, and he just walks out there with his goons. He's like, all right, we just fucked this place up. Let's keep on moving. Like,
well, for me, the only setup that I saw was like, you know, he put like notes in the Rubik's cube about what were they talking about?
Yeah,
like,
but come on,
how the fuck did
that's not setup. That's weak ass setup.
I feel like that one scene. I feel like it was not even like a core of the episode, whatever that showing of the him breaking out. I feel like that could have been a whole like few episodes right there, set up and you know learning, talking to them, you know, maybe before like talking to them while they're in their institution, you know, and then you know getting the setup for the plan, you know, executing the plan. Okay, where do we go from here? Like, how did they create all these fucking like all the drugs and everything? How did they get all the setup and all the machines and all? Like, I'm so confused on so many things in their plan. Like, and then they got fucking hot air balloons. What the fuck? But in Dr. Stone, like, you know, there was some setup to some of the things they was in. Like, okay, you know, okay, here's carbon, here's the composites. Okay, this is how I made it. Bam. Okay, now we do that a bunch of times. Now we have a tank. Okay. We see the setup, you know, we know the steps that he did to get there. But how the fuck do you get hot air balloons? How the fuck do you get these machines to make drugs? How do you be able to get all these set up for all these kind of things?
Dude, the more you think about it, it was so bad, dude. Like, I don't even know what to say about the season, dude. Like they go into the human world and they're in like New York. It looks like a bunch like they're like, what is it? Present day? Like, are they in our present day world? Like, what the hell? Well, I guess it's, you know, whatever, the war. So it's fictional, but it doesn't. It's just so weird, dude. This was I've never seen an anime fall from grace so hard in my life. Like, the first season was a masterpiece, and this was a shit turd. Like, the fall from grace, I've never witnessed it. I've never witnessed it in like a live action TV series. You know, movies, right? A hit comes out, the sequel usually sucks, right? But dude, this was on another level. Like, the first season of this was a masterpiece. Then this sequel is like, what on earth even happened? Like, yeah, but yeah, the more you think about like the hot air balloons, the drugs they had,
all the drugs.
Like, where did, again? It's probably in the manga. Please, Germs, please do us a favor. Show them the shirt. Show them the shirt, please. Yep. And I've always hated those types of people, but after the way of the House Husband, after this adaptation, ooh, it's getting harder to not be one of those people, honestly. I mean, you know, adaptations are never going to be perfect, as good as the source material, but my God, man, so bad.
They didn't even try.
They didn't try. You know, you know what's funny? Okay, this is the controversy that I held off from telling you about. And I don't have the exact number here, but I believe it's the last 2 episodes. They kept off the animators' names on purpose because they knew they were going to get a huge, you know, backlash and all that. So the studio was well aware. And did you feel it too? Did you feel it go off a cliff those last 3, 4, maybe 2 episodes? Like it just like it was. You're like hoping it gets better. You're hoping like, okay, everything so far has been okay, but hopefully we get a decent ending. And they're just like, nah, like, here the subplot with Mama gonna go chase them, and what it goes nowhere. All the manga readers were like, ooh, this is interesting. This wasn't in the manga. Maybe they could do something fun with this. Nah, it goes nowhere. They show up and Mama turns on, Peter Rattray. Like, she doesn't even try to hunt them down. Like, did they just abandon it halfway? They're like, yeah, like, let's just forget that shit. Let's put them in hot air balloons instead.
Like, the thing that's just so crazy about it is the studio. We just talked about the studio and what they're doing that season. They're doing like the studio has never let me down before. They've done fantastic stuff. The first season was fantastic. They do so many other fantastic shows.
Yeah, to be clear, it's Cloverworks. Cloverworks is the studio, and they did the first season. So this is not a change. If this was a change of studios, that might explain some of it. Same exact studio that did both seasons. That is what makes it even more bizarre for me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they've worked on so many good things. There's some questionable things. I remember like when Persona 5 came out, the animation, like there was some little like, oh, it wasn't too good of anime, but like they did the Fate Grand Order, the Babylon, that was fantastic.
Yeah.
But then just this season they had Horimiya, fantastic in my eyes, One Direct Priority, absolute top tier. They had, Promised Neverland, and then I think they had something else, but they had so many bangers on their hands here.
From what I could tell, it was those 3 last season. At least like big shows, yeah.
Yeah, so like they were working on those 3 whole things at once, and just it's so obvious that this is the one that they cared the least about.
Absolutely.
It's so obvious. It's like
absolutely, yeah.
Like the animation and like it has to be like the director, or like it has to be some I don't know who the fuck's problem with the series was, but they absolutely wanted to see this go the worst way it could possibly ever go.
Someone has a vendetta against Promised Neverland.
Yeah, there's no controversy. This is just what they call it, rumor or whatever. It's so obvious. You can just feel it. This is so. Whoever wanted to see this show go down the hill, they did a great job at that.
They did.
Unfortunately,
they did. And let's talk about the last season. They had those 3 shows, right? Let's talk about it. So let's set the scene here. Horimiya. I thought a good adaptation, right? Like, I didn't read the manga, but good shit, good animation, high quality animation. For what we got, I thought it was an enjoyable series, but it was a very sped up series. They adapted the whole thing in 1 season. Again, if you read the manga, you probably hate it. If you didn't, like me, you probably enjoyed it. So, it's going to be on where you're coming from with your personal experience. For what it was, I thought it was pretty damn good. A hell of a lot better than this Promised Neverland, right? We can all agree on that, even if it was super rushed, right? Then we get into Wonder Egg. In my opinion, a masterpiece, but something to talk about. They did have production issues on that show. They were supposed to end it in its initial 12-episode run. They couldn't. That's why, they fell behind. We had a recap episode. And then when you get to the last episode, you realize, oh, this is not the ending. So that is why we're having a special come out in the summer, I believe, to actually finish the show. And then you have the Promised Neverland, which we've been talking about it. This got the shaft. This is the one that they're like, yeah, we don't give a fuck about this one. Looked like they kind of did in the beginning. And then toward the end, they're just like, nope. We're just going to show you arcs and, still frame in the slideshow. This season, I don't believe you're watching this one, but I do highly recommend it for the viewers out there. Shadow's House, highly recommended, Jerms, when you get a chance. This one feels like the spiritual successor of The Promised Neverland. If you like the first season of The Promised Neverland, this seems to be like a very good substitute for it. But yeah, you got to wonder what's going on with Cloverworks. Why are they rushing things, right? Like Horimiya, rushed. Good, but maybe it wasn't, they were tracking numbers and it wasn't a hit for them. Wonder Egg, they couldn't finish it on time. The Promised Neverland, the first season was a hit. if you have a hit on your hands, why do you want to rush it? Wouldn't, if anything, business wise, wouldn't you want to spread it out? Look at Boku no Hero. Look at all these long running shows, right? Bones is spreading that shit thin. You know that. They're not necessarily giving us a lot of filler, but like they're taking arcs and stretching them out so they can fill out a whole season so they can keep it on their roster. Why wouldn't Cloverworks want to keep the Promised Neverland on their roster? Who at Cloverworks was like, you know what? Fantastic first season. Everyone loves it. It's done great, sale wise. The second season, let's just fuck it. Let's just like finish the story. Let's skip some stuff and let's make our own ending. Like who came up with that? Like that's just bizarre to me. It's not even like it went to another studio. Like you had a hit on your hands. And business wise, instead of extending it or, because how with anime, like they'll make spinoffs and shit. I mean, look at all, we could, go through a ton of shows that have had spinoffs and all types of stuff where you're like, that doesn't need a continuation, but they're kind of cashing it, cash cow, cashing it, milking it for what it's worth. You would think that that's what they would want to do with the Promised Neverland, but they're like, nope, we're going to finish this shit. Just bizarre to me, man. Just absolutely bizarre to me. I don't know.
Yeah, I would have much preferred if like maybe they did an anime only ending or something like if they did like the first of like it was from the beginning we noticed we're like, did they skip something, they skipped something. So like just even from the beginning they've been hinting at like this gonna be skipping shit, not gonna show what was going on, adding new things randomly. It's like writing was on the wall from the beginning. Unfortunately, it's not like it was good from the beginning and then it goes downhill. It's like no, it's from the beginning we've noticed these kind of things.
Oh yeah,
and they just went ham on it at the end here.
Yeah. The first two episodes you can notice the pacing is quicker. The third episode they exclude a character. Remember when they went to the bunker and they opened up that room and it had like writing on it or like a note left behind? There was supposed to be a character sitting in there. I think Mr. is his name. I don't know. I'm not a manga reader, right? So when the third episode came out, everyone's like, why the hell was there not a guy sitting in a chair in that room? Like he's a big part of the story. And a lot of people say, from what I'm reading, Goldie Pond is the best arc of the show, which is hard to believe from.
I don't understand what they.
Yeah, which is hard to believe from me because the first arc was fantastic, that first season, but yeah, we got nothing of this Goldie Pond arc. Completely scrubbed. Like we didn't see any of it. It's just it's just bizarre, man. Like you say, the writing was on the wall from episode. It was fast paced, but then episode 3 is where people are like, okay, the studio's changing some stuff, and it continually got worse. And then Norman had his talk no jutsu into being good because a demon had the same name as Emma, and then the hot air balloons and just like, dude, those last
drug production,
those last couple episodes went so off the cliff, dude. Like they kind of cared in the beginning, but then the last couple, they're just like, nah, we know people hate this. Let's just get this over with. That's how it felt to me. They're showing whole arcs is a slideshow at the end. I mean, that's almost a slap in the face. If you're going to give us an anime only ending, please give us an anime only ending. Don't show us again. An adaptation is supposed to be where you don't have to go watch the source material. They're adapting the source material so you can enjoy the story in this, this alternate way, right? So if I never looked up that dragon, dude, as a viewer, I would have absolute no idea what that dragon was. I'd be like, what? Is that a demon? Like what? Like just so bizarre, man. So bizarre. And so let's get into the second question we have here. So the big, the first topic was, what did we think about the season? I think people are well aware of what we thought of the season. Does it deserve the hate that it gets? I'll start with you.
Well, it's kind of all the it's you can't blame the animators. They only do what they're told and all that stuff. So it's really up to the director and the author, because I feel like the author obviously had to have known about what was going to go on here.
Yes.
So that's just a huge question. It's like the people in charge, the big suits and all that kind of people. What the fuck were they thinking? Like, like as you said, like before, like as a business read, like I feel like the business people were like, okay, we can get the. I feel like if we can have like 4 seasons material, I feel like from all the things we skipped, like okay, why not give it the full treatment that it deserves? That you're already the first season we already saw, they did perfect, and maybe they skipped something. We're not manga readers, so to fit into that 12 episodes. So like, what did the higher ups do to fuck this thing over so much to make it? It's only 11 episodes. It's not even like a full 12, 13 episodes.
Thank God.
So it's like, what were the higher ups? What was the author thinking? The director? How did this even happen? How did such a mess happen?
Yeah.
Because like, and then I feel like we can also see like with Horimiya, like they skipped like they didn't do a bunch of skips, so like that are important. Like they show all the important stuff.
Yeah.
And then at the end, they just like, okay, we'll just end it off. We'll show the final chapter just like midway or whatever. So it's like it's not just the Promised Neverland where they're doing this in Cloverworks. They're doing to their other series with the Promised Wonder Egg as well.
Yeah.
So it's just like. So something's going on with the higher ups at Cloverworks, the management of
100%.
Cloverworks to that's really fucking over these shows.
Yes, 100%.
Not getting the treatment they deserve.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. There definitely is a management issue. They had an anime only Wonder Egg. I think it's a masterpiece, right? Like I don't hate Cloverworks, but they couldn't. They fell behind. They had to give us a recap episode in a 11 episode per season. Or 12 of the series. We have a special coming, but yeah, 12 episodes, and we get a recap. That's kind of brutal. And I thought it was a masterpiece. I love it, but there is some issues going on there. And again, we're not attacking people personally. The animators are doing what they're told. This is nothing. We're not like some of those dumbass weebs that send, death threats, anything crazy like that. Like we're not, this isn't personal. We're just critiquing the art. We're just critiquing the anime, and the anime, it was terrible. Again,
it's garbage.
We don't hate anybody. This is not malice. This is just us critiquing it from an artistic perspective. The second season was garbage. And what makes it even worse, Jerms, is that I love the first season, man. If this was a show, like if the first season was like a 7 to me and they did this, okay, that sucks. But I love the first season, man. I love it. I would still go back and watch it. There's kind of no reason to now, but I loved it. And such a fall from grace. Like they didn't do this to a C tier show. They did this to like an S tier show, and they brought it down in the dumps, which is, So for me, to answer the question, I think it does get the hate it deserves. Not the personal death threat. None of that. We don't condone any of that. But in terms of just what people think about the anime, this is certified garbage.
It's
understandable, certified garbage, 100% in my opinion. So
unfortunately, it's so unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately. Are you going to read? I'm curious, man. I think at some point I'm going to read the manga because I just want to know what this arc that everyone's talking about being better than the first is. I'm curious about it. So at some point I'm going to check it out because I have to now. It's like Tokyo Ghoul. It's like, well, now you got to go read the manga because that adaptation was not good.
That's how everything makes sense.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, I was waiting to talk to you about this one, man. This one was a spicy topic. We love to talk about stuff that we enjoy, but occasionally, we're reviewers. We gotta be honest. We gotta keep it real. So, final thoughts from you, Jerms? The Promised Neverland's second season.
Yeah, this is a certified T tier for trash.
Yeah.
So it's real sad to see. We always love the first season, so just having to see it giving such a low tier score, so sad to see.
Yep. By the way, Mugen Train, we have a review on our channel. Go check it out. Type in Weeb Retreat, you'll find our channel. For Mugen Train, we did it out of 5. Should we do this one out of 5, Jerms? What would you give? What would you give the Promised Neverland second season out of 5? You can't say 0. You can't say 0.
I know. Oh, if I can't get 0, then only one out of 5.
1 out of 5
unfortunately.
For me too. 1 out of 5 for me too.
It's real sad.
It's real sad. It's so sad, dude. I love the story. I love the characters. I was so intrigued. I was more hyped for this shit than any other thing. I love the first season, but yikes. That I understand why it gets the hate that it gets. I totally understand.